Welcome to the Misquamicut Beach Podcast, a podcast spotlighting the businesses, newsmakers, events, and memories of Rhode Island's historic Misquamicut Beach.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Misquamicut Beach Podcast. It's here. This weekend is Springfest, the 9th annual Springfest. Very excited about that, and as always, it wouldn't be a Springfest or Fall Fest if we didn't have Caswell Cooke on the show to give us a full rundown of what's going on. Caswell, how are you?
I'm ready.
You look ready. You look exhausted from the setup already.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff. You've been talking to all the people, so people that follow our podcast have heard all the people coming to Springfest. It's our 9th year doing it, so we kind of have it down, which is pretty cool, because after a while, it becomes a little more routine for us to be able to pull this off. Things change. We try to, of course, keep the thing fresh, so it's not just that thing at the beach again. We always have new entertainment every year. We try to, the amusement people really try to bring different rides. I was just down there today, and I saw some rides I've never seen in the 9 years. So I think they're constantly switching things out. They probably trade rides with other companies throughout the country just so that it's fresh. And I think Rockwell has 3 distinct setups anyway. So they're always, you don't get the same setup every time. So that's cool. And then the other thing that's really interesting about this festival, I didn't realize it until we measured out the entrance, we've got more vendors than ever. So we have about 100 vendors. So compare that to Fall Fest, where we had like in the 60s. So it's twice the size as it was. I've had to push the start of the festival all the way up almost to the pavilion.
Oh, wow.
So it's really cool. So there's that, and we've got just our great crew of people that I always want to try to thank, because at the end of the day, we talk about all this stuff, but it's the Misquamicut Business Association that does this stuff, and it's our board of directors, and so people like our president, Charles, who you've talked to before from the Windjammer, giving us his crew to use, Rebecca Green from Cold Stone Creamery, who takes on a lot of that responsibility and such. So it's interesting stuff. It's good people. Rebecca from the Andrea, the Pleasant View, for instance, putting up all the artists to stay at the Pleasant View. And those are the kind of things. Then we have Yale New Haven Health, Westerly Hospital presenting the entertainers, Coca-Cola. So it's good, and it's how we get this thing off the ground.
Yeah, the Pleasant View is a great place for the entertainment to stay. I hosted some trivia nights last summer at the Pleasant View.
So did I.
You did for me, and by the end of it, I was like, I should, September when it's dying down a little bit, I should rent a room here, even though I live 5 minutes away, because it's just so nice.
It is. It's just the place to be, and when the weather seems to have broken, knock on wood, and the weather forecast looks okay for this weekend. It's never great. You never get that 3 days of sunshine. Someday we will. We do at Fall Fest.
Yeah.
But right now, Saturday looks to be the best day, which is cool because that's our longest day, because we're open Friday from 5 to 11, Saturday 11 to 11, Sunday 11 to 5. So we're hoping we cross our fingers.
Michael Pettit, the comedian that's going to be on Friday, called me this morning, bright and early, to talk about Friday and the weather, and he's excited. He's going to be there, obviously, and he's good friends with the people from Dirty Deeds, the AC/DC tribute band. Which is cool. Go listen to that episode. Tell me a little bit about the entertainment this year.
Well, there's Michael Pettit, who's funny. I think I told you last year. No, he's funny. I mean, he's definitely a legend in his own mind. And when I think about him, and I often don't, I remember last year when he was playing to 3 people at Sandy's Lighthouse. And this guy came up to the window and started screaming through the window, heckling him. And he was able to turn that heckler around and get that guy who was outside the window laughing. And that's when I knew we had to have him come back because he's kind of a funny guy. So we got this comedian who's going to like really, should I take it on the road myself? All my lines.
This is one hell of an endorsement.
All my lines are stolen. I rip them off from people. Nothing's original. Because I take the funny shit that works, right?
Yeah.
Can I say shit on a podcast?
It's your podcast, man.
That's good.
I'm just hosting it.
The funny stuff. Anyway, so we got the funny guy and AC/DC tribute. You can't go wrong with AC/DC's music. God help the lead singer to be able to pull that off for 2 hours and sing at that level, but he does. And you would think you're at an AC/DC con. Dirty Deeds is well known. I mean, they're out of Boston, and they just have a really good following. So we're really happy to have them. And then the duo that was very elusive for this podcast, Acrobatrix, which is kind of a play on acrobatics because they're acrobats, but they do tricks. So they're Acrobatrix with an X on the end. And basically, the way I describe Leah and Etienne, they're a couple, is basically she can twist herself in a pretzel, and he kind of juggles her in the air, and they tell jokes while doing it. I mean, if that's the way I could describe it. I first saw Acrobatrix at King Richard's Fair a few years ago, and they were under the guise, their name was Vicious and Delicious, and they had the Renaissance outfits on and everything. But they did their shtick, and she's a contortionist. I mean, you can fit her backwards in a glass box, and her feet come out over her head kind of thing. And he's just, he plays the buffoon, and she, takes advantage of him and whatever to make the gig funny. And it's a funny show. So we had them come a couple years ago. They had like one night free from King Richard's, and they came down from Massachusetts. They're from the Midwest, I think, and they're all over the world. But they came back and they did one show, and they were so awesome and so good. And I've been like begging them for like 3 years now. Will you come and just stay the weekend? And they are, thank God. And so you're going to be able to see Acrobatrix Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They're doing like 3 or 4 shows a day. And that's probably going to be my favorite thing to see is they know what they're doing. And then we got the martial arts demos and all these different things.
Simply Enchanted will be back.
Simply Enchanted is back. Larry and David. We have a lemon car show, which we've never had before. So we have the classic car show from 11 to 3 on Saturday and Sunday, which is pretty self-explanatory. The lemon car show is much different. You can bring it, drag it, push it, pull it, kick it. You can't leave it. At Springfest, and we'll give you an award for worst in show. You're going to get Dell's Lemonade, because it's a lemon, is going to be one of the sponsors of the prizes, as well as the Windjammer. So we're going to see what happens with that. Now, the other thing I wanted to tell you about was, before I get to, Sunday is, we'll get to Saturday in a minute, but Sunday is a whole lot of heart. You talk to them, and tribute to Heart. Those 2 ladies do a good job, and playing Barracuda and These Dreams and all their hits.
And not only that, but like the actual band Heart, they do a lot of Zeppelin as well.
The best Heart Zeppelin thing I ever saw was a couple years back. Must have been 4, 5, 6 years ago now, when the Zeppelin got the Kennedy Center honors, and they sit up in the box with the president, and people come and entertain, And who came out and sang, Stairway to Heaven, but Heart.
Yeah.
With Jason Bonham on drums, the son of the late drummer John Bonham, and I just was like, wow. So the Heart / Zeppelin thing is really cool. And then after that, from 3:30 to 5 is a really awesome duo, and I think they're bringing a drummer and guitar player, but it really is a duo, and they're called Space Junk is Forever. And they've never played live until this year. And basically what it was is I was going through Facebook, and I saw this guy who had like all these keyboards and a Hammond organ and everything, and then this chick on drums who couldn't be more than 22 years old, and they're making this sound. I'm like, who are these 2 people? Like, she's drumming like Neil Peart from Rush, and he's playing this keyboard, and they're playing the soundtrack from Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. And I'm going, wow, like this is really different and interesting. So I sent him a message through Facebook, and he responded to me, and they said, well, we're going to try to put some live shows together. I said, well, I want you to play. So they're really cool. They're eclectic. I think the name Space Junk is Forever maybe tells you what it's, I don't know how to describe them. They're kind of like, maybe like, I don't want to say Pink Floyd and Emerson, Lake and Palmer. That's kind of too, but it's more in that progressive rock,
yeah.
I would say is where they are. King Crimson comes to mind, which is an old group. So Space Junk is Forever is awesome. And then Saturday's the day where we have a lot of entertainment, but we have 3 in particular. We have Aztec Two-Step. You talked to Rex from Aztec.
He was awesome. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and they are, obviously they're a band that's been around forever, for 47 years, and there was a documentary on PBS about them, No Hit Wonder, which is awesome, and what's funny is that I think that they are, they're actually very, like if you go back and listen to their music, it's very contemporary to what is sort of a huge genre of music right now, with the the folk duos that can really rock, like there's like a little bit of like the Avett Brothers and the Milk Carton Kids and stuff with them, but they can really jam out too, which is awesome. So like that was a group that I had never heard of that I got into a little bit because of the podcast, and they're really fantastic. And actually, Rex's partner, his original partner from Aztec Two-Step, retired last year, and his wife, who is a Broadway singer, he's fantastic, adds a whole new aspect to it. So I'm really excited to see them on Saturday.
Yeah, no, they're going to be cool. This new version. The interviews that I've heard on your podcast, and then he was on WADK, and he was on, where else was he that I heard him? But he's done a bunch of interviews for us. Oh, he was on WBLQ yesterday, and he seems like excited. Not that he wanted his partner to retire, but it's like he's got a new configuration. And so it's a little more, after 40-something years of doing the same thing, this is like a different thing. The people who like Aztec Two-Step will be happy, but he's also going to do other stuff. But this stuff is approachable. It's like it doesn't matter who's going to the festival. When these guys are on stage, or this guy and his wife and the bass player, you're going to enjoy the music. It's nothing that'll offend.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have to be a fan of their music. They're going to win you over. That's
what they've been doing.
That's why they lasted for 47 years, and have a documentary about no hit wonders. They will win you over in a live show, even if you don't know who they are. They're fantastic. And he poked a lot of fun at the two of them. On our show, we talked about the comparisons to some of the folk duos of today, and he was like, we weren't, there weren't going to be any tight harmonies with the two of us, but now there is, because the wife, the new partner, is such a talented singer, so it's even more enjoyable, and there's a whole new aspect to it, and then John Batdorf is also going to be back in Misquamicut.
I am trying single-handedly to make Batdorf a household name in Westerly. He came last year and played at Tunes on the Dunes, and the mood that what evoked, I'm not sure how to phrase this. We were sitting on the beach listening to him, and a lot of people didn't necessarily know who he was. After 90 minutes, first of all, nobody got up and left early. It was softer music. They were quiet. They enjoyed it. He had there was such a great mood, and it was upbeat. It wasn't, like some depressing love songs or something. John Batdorf, you've talked to him now twice, and hopefully he'll be on the podcast again, because I think he's going to become a regular. When you mention Batdorf and Rodney to people that are like over 60, they remember the group, and they did have a couple of top 100 hits. It wasn't anything huge. Home Again was just this wonderful song that they did that I love. And then they hit the big time just about, and then that big record producer Clive Davis, who made everybody famous, gave them Somewhere in the Night, the Barry Manilow song. Of course, it went nowhere for them. And then wham bam, and Batdorf will tell you how he hated it and he wouldn't sing it and he didn't like it, but it went top 20. And then he wrote all these commercials, these Toyota commercials and stuff, and the Tom and Jerry Kids theme song for the cartoon, and he's done all kinds of soundtracks for his. I know you like the soundtrack to Recovery, but when I mean soundtracks, he's done, different Twin Peaks, just different like TV shows. And then now that a couple of years ago that Guardians of the Galaxy came out, and they used all those 70s songs in the soundtrack. It's like there's Wham Bam wedged in between like ELO and Bachman Turner Overdrive, and there's that song, and it came back again. And so he's like, you know what, I think I like it now. I think I'll sing it, since millions of people actually know that song. So Batdorf's the guy that you don't know that you actually do know.
Yeah.
And he's nice and he's fun, and he works with America and other bands from that era. And he is going to do a number with Rex, too. Yep. They're going to get together. And then to just make it completely not fit, we're bringing in Sam Wolf from American Idol, 2014 season, top 5 finalist. I was listening to some of the stuff he did and watching, him work with the judges, and it's pretty amazing. I mean, because Idol is so huge. And so you make the top 10 on Idol, you probably got a career ahead of you. He made the top 5. And what makes him more unique than most of them is he's more than a singer. He plays the guitar. He did on the show. He writes his own stuff, so he's not just singing cover songs. He sang cover songs on the show. But here's a guy that, he's so talented. And so it'll really be cool to have this sort of multi-generational singer-songwriter night, because Batdorf is of a certain era, Aztec's of a certain era, and Sam is now. And it'll be nice to see. And I'd love to see, I know Batdorf and Aztec are going to do it, but I'm going to put Wolf in there. He's going to be a Batdorf Aztec sandwich filler. He's going to be right in between them, and I want to see them watch him. And he would learn from them, I think, too, especially. And it would be great if there's some kind of chemistry there and they invite him to come up and sing also with them. Because I'd love to see at the end all 3 of those guys, perform together. And it would be kind of cool. So that's kind of the lineup for the whole weekend. And it's $8 to get in. And parking is free. And it's at the State Beach. I will mention, if you are coming to the car show, usually the car show is in front of the main entrance. But this year it's going to be down on the grass, down over towards Sam's Snack Bar. There are 2 entrances to Springfest. The main entrance when you first drive in. But if you want to continue down, again, towards Sam's Snack Bar, there's a secondary entrance there. You can get in. And we're excited to have people come. So there's coupons everywhere, too, all around town, like Washington Trust, different banks, the gas stations, or on the Misquamicut Facebook page. There's those $1 coupons. Just show them on your phone.
Awesome.
There's also a Groupon that's even cheaper.
Oh, wow.
So
very nice. Yeah, it's the thing everybody looks forward to. It's the official kickoff of the 2019, I almost said 2018. I'm got to get with the times. The 2019 beach season in Misquamicut. I'm excited. I have had a lot of fun talking to these people, and I'm going to have a lot of fun meeting these people this weekend. Yeah. And we'll be back on Friday, the day of starting Springfest, talking to some vendors and stuff down there that are getting ready.
And it's weird? Like a week from this Friday, a week from the opening of Springfest, the drive-in opens.
Yeah.
With Jaws 2 is our first movie. And it's just like, it just keeps going after that. Then all of a sudden, and then next week, our classic car cruises start on Tuesdays. And so, like, all this stuff's going to start, like, happening, like, now.
And you're you're doing a little bit of a different thing this year with the drive-in, right? The weekends are like a certain weekend is going to be dedicated to a movie.
Yeah, I think so, because what we had last year was there was kind of this situation where people would say, well, geez, I always miss Jaws, because like I come up on Saturdays and you play Jaws on Friday, for instance, and I always miss Caddyshack because it's on a certain day and our vacation. So I'm like, well, you know what? People usually come up on vacation and they leave Saturday morning. So the crowd that's here on Friday isn't necessarily the crowd that's here on Saturday. So what we did is we took some of our top movies that were put out in a poll. We did a poll. We had, I think, over 400 responses. And so, for instance, when we get to July, we're going to have July 4th, 5th, and 6th, a weekend of Jaws, a weekend of Indiana Jones, a weekend of Grease, a weekend of Ghostbusters, a weekend of Back to the Futures, Goonies, Dirty Dancing, E.T., but to kick it off in the beginning, it's just Friday nights, May 17th through June 28th, just once a week. But then once we get to July, we go to 3 days. But we're going to have a lot of new stuff at the drive-in. We got a new staff. We probably should do a whole podcast just on this whole drive-in thing and how the heck it came to be.
Definitely, yeah. Let's do that, and I also want to talk to you pretty soon about the Haven Express, when is that opening? Is all we'll ask now.
The Haven Express is basically the concession stand at the Dunes Park, and it's a variation of Seafood Haven. It's not the Seafood Haven. We don't have a Seafood Haven this year, unfortunately. We hope to in the future. But Bob and I are going to be running the concession at the Dunes called the Haven Express, where some of those great Seafood Haven items will be available. And we look forward to serving people. There's such a great group of people that, always park and go to the Dunes Park for beach parking, and they used to walk across the street when we were there. So we'll be on the beach now. So, if you go to the Dunes Park, you'll be able to eat there. And if you're next door at Seaside, I'm sure you can walk over. It won't be as convenient for our regular customers because unless you're parking at the Dunes, and we'll be open during the hours they're open, so like 11 a.m. to 5:30 at night sort of thing. So be a little easier, I think, a little more low key this time around, and because I've decided that I wanted to get a real estate license and do other things too. So I keep my foot in every door, I suppose,
or your hand in every pot. I don't know if that's a negative metaphor or not.
Yeah, someone came up with a name for me on Facebook the other day, a guy who doesn't like me, and I don't like him, so it doesn't matter, but he called me Clamshell Crook, because supposedly I'm just making millions down the beach off of doing festivals. But I thought that was a great SpongeBob name. Like, that's a great character for SpongeBob, like Mr. Krabs and Clamshell Crook. I like that, so... Yeah, hand in every pot. Sure, why not?
All right. Well, this weekend, Friday, starting at 5 o'clock, all the way through to Sunday night, come check out Springfest. It's $8. Go on the Misquamicut Beach Facebook page. Get a $1 coupon.
There's Instagram or Twitter page.
Yeah, just go everywhere. It's going to be awesome. And we'll see you there.
Got it.
For more information on the events and businesses in Misquamicut Beach, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and at misquamicut.org.